After all the will he, won't he, oh, is he really as good as he thinks he is nonsense over the last few episodes, Liam Wells has officially arrived and he's awesome. Hello and welcome to Season 21, Episode 4 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we're away against Liverpool in the Premier League and then at home against Dortmund in the Premier League. Since you were last with me, it's been the Liam Wells show. I've been very much enjoying just how ridiculously awesome he's become. You saw him score twice against Newcastle, I believe. Well, he then got a hat-trick against Wolves in the next game. We didn't play him against Watford, so he didn't score. But then he came back into the team for the Champions League game against Celtic, where he scored and was brilliant. And then he played a very major part in the 6-0 thumping of top-of-the-table Man City. Iribarren got a hat-trick, but Wells getting 2 goals. And we were just dominant and exceptional, and it was all thanks to a new look front three of Ortega, Iribarren and Wells. But Wells with 2 goals, 2 assists against the team who were top of the table. He's now made his England debut as well. After 12 goals and 10 under-21 caps, he's made his debut for England. He's been superb. Unfortunately, he twisted his knee on international duty, so you're not going to get to see him straight away today. But he's currently sat on 6 goals from 7 Premier League starts on a 7.56 average rating. He's going to be an absolute superstar. We've got a real proper player on our hands in the shape of Liam Wells. And goodness me, am I excited. So all of that means the Premier League table at 11 games in looks like this. Man City have been knocked off their perch by us, but we've still not managed to force our way into a Champions League spot. We're only 5 points off the top of the league. It's by no means a disaster yet if we carry on playing as well as we've been playing recently. Certainly when Wells is in the team. We weren't the same team against Watford without him. So I guess we might not be the same team today because he's not going to be in the team against Liverpool. But when Wells is there, we look brilliant. And I don't see why a title push is out of the question this season. We'll just have to see what happens. We'll probably lose today because I've mentioned title pushes. So, unfortunately, as is often the way after an international break, our players have come back absolutely shattered. And the Premier League, in their wisdom, have decided to play the game a day earlier than usual as well on the Friday night. So, we've got a bunch of players who are all on like 80 to 90% condition. Sometimes I remember to give them a day off training when they get back. I may have forgotten this time, but it shows what a difference retiring from international football has made for Ziyech. He's going to be there on 100% fitness. Burgess, who didn't make it into the England squad this time, the same. But everyone else who's been away on international duty is completely spent. So hopefully Liverpool are going to be in a similar situation. You'd expect them to have a similar number of international players, but our very tired team is going to be this one. We've got Igor in goal, a back four of Ribeiro, Aribi, Eriksson and Ndai, Fiorentini, Wagner and Ziyech in midfield with Oscar in behind Vendrig and Iribarren. Oh, we've got to give a squad number out. I mean, this is how desperate we're getting with all these youngsters. We're bringing in another youngster. Chris McConnell, 17-year-old striker. Looks like he could end up being half decent. He's the one we brought in from Villa last summer. Probably never going to... I mean, he's only got 3-star potential. He did have 4.5 when we signed him, I think. So, you know, we've got the Lucas effect on there. Lucas won't decide he's got good potential until he's played 10 games for the first team, probably. But... question marks about him. Yes, it's a different sort of challenge. Let's beat Liverpool. And then, I mean, the goal for today is to survive the match, bearing in mind how shattered our players are. I imagine their manager has been much smarter about resting the players when they come back from international duty. Not that we've had much of an opportunity to, because we're playing on the Friday night. They all only turned back up yesterday. Oh, and I don't even know why he was there, but there he was. And he's grabbed himself a goal. Why is is this a bigger pitch than normal? Everything's hanging over onto the pitch. Liverpool playing on a giant pitch. We've gone 1-0 up after 4 minutes. Let's have a look at it in 3D. Wagner to Ziyech. And for some reason, Ndai is in the penalty area to get on the end of a through ball. And it's an absolutely beautiful finish from our right back. That's how good we're getting now. I don't know why these are all hanging over here, though. Let's push them back where they're supposed to be. There we go. And I mean, I'd happily end the game here to avoid picking up any injuries or any further tiredness to players. Vendrig's done really well there. Iribarren finds Oscar. That was brilliant. Iribarren finds it. He scored against his old club. 23rd goal of the season for Ruben Iribarren. I'm fussing about Liam Wells before the match, but that's the 23rd goal this season for Iribarren. It's November, and he's scored 23 goals so far this season. The man is not human. And if Wells can end up being 80% as good as Iribarren is, I mean, remember, Iribarren's still only 23, I think, 23, 24. He's 23 years old. We could have the best attacking front three in Europe for the next 10 years. How do we not start winning things sometime soon? Right, Eriksson finds Oscar. That's a beautiful through ball. Iribarren's in. Is he going to square it to Vendrig? He does, and obviously Vendrig did it. Wells would have scored. Vendrig has got to accept the fact that his days at Tottenham are numbered now. I think if we can get anything like a reasonable offer for him in January, we're going to move him on and just keep the production line of young talent rolling that we seem to be developing here at Spurs now. I think it might be time to go back and review all the comments from 3 or 4 seasons ago about Kev, you've not got any English players. Kev, you've not got any young players. Kev, develop some youth. Kev, sign someone English. I do listen sometimes. When I agree, I listen. And that was an oversight on my behalf, and I fixed it. The goalkeeper thing, there's nothing I can do about. It is what it is. We'll just re-sign Kevin Thompson. I asked him on Twitter. He seems keen to come back. So that'll be January's business. We'll sell Vendrig and use every penny of it to bring Thompson back home. Vendrig scored. There you go. He wants to put himself out there, encourage some bids to come in for him. It's his 5th goal of the season. Which, again, it's only November. 5 goals by this point for a player who's not played every game, because certainly the last 6 games, Wells has been in that spot. So, Vendrig's scoring at a decent enough rate, I guess. But when you've got Iribarren there with 23 goals over the same period, Wells, who's scoring at a goal a game since he's been in to replace Vendrig, and then the memories of Vendrig from his amazing season that seems destined never to be repeated, it's hard to be impressed with 5 goals by November. Oscar's in now and forces a fingertip save from the Liverpool keeper. Where are Liverpool in the league? They're mid-table. Remember, they did flirt with relegation last season, managed to escape it with some good form in the second half of the season. But this isn't the kind of all-conquering Liverpool team you might expect. That's a bit of a worry. Plotnikov is going to have to come on for Eriksson, who's picked up an injury. Always the danger coming off the back of these international breaks where everyone's low on condition. And I guess if we were going to pick anyone to get an injury, one of the centre-backs is probably the least damaging, because we've got Plotnikov sat there desperate to get back into the team. Again, he's another one who's a former Liverpool player as well, so might decide to weigh in with a goal today just to, you know, rub salt in the wounds and all that. We're going to take Wagner off and we'll bring on Burgess, because we always bring on Burgess, and just switch all those around. I want Fiorentini to become our central midfielder on defend. That's what we signed him to do. The problem is, like every other player we've got in midfield, he's really good going forward as well. So it's quite difficult to be disciplined and play in there. But he's got all the attributes to be able to do it. So let's do it a bit more often. You need to tell me off when I don't. And lastly, we'll bring Ortega on for Oscar. Ortega will probably feel a little bit hard done by not to be in the team off the back of the Man City game, but because he has to go all the way to Argentina for his international football, he's more tired than Oscar, who only has to go to Turkey. There's my justification. Oscar had the slight edge on condition, probably. He probably didn't, but, you know, he's Oscar. We have to play Oscar. He was only being rested against City. It wasn't my fault that we were brilliant. We need to get Oscar back in. We spent all that money on him, and he's going to be the best player in the world for like a year after Iribarren retires. Vendrig to Ortega, and Ortega is saying, look, seriously, you should have played me. I was brilliant in the last game. I've been on the pitch 4 minutes. Look, remember what I can do. And, yeah, laid up by Vendrig, and that's a lovely little finish from Ortega. We're beating Liverpool 4-0 away from home. Let's not glaze over the fact how impressive this is. And as things stand, I know everyone's got a game in hand on us, but we're only 2 points off the top of the league, and going into a Champions League game where we could potentially qualify for the knockout rounds a game early, which after the slow start we had in the competition, that would be pretty useful as well. Everything's starting to come together this season now. I don't know what that was all about, but yeah, our captain's broken his ankle. Never all goes well, does it? Just a couple of changes for the Dortmund game, then Wells comes back in for Vendrick. Vendrick didn't do anything wrong, but I really want you to I want you to see Liam Wells in the form that he's in at the moment, and hopefully he won't disappoint. Plotnikov comes in for the broken Eriksson. I mean, yeah, his legs hanging off. So what can you do? He refuses to play with a broken ankle, even though he's the captain and he's supposed to lead by example. Yes, relishing stuff. Yep, don't care about any of that. Let's just get into the game. Don't know what any of that stuff said. I hope I didn't mess up our chances by just clicking on the second from top option. It's usually the best thing to do. Anything better than defeat in this game should be enough to see us through into the knockout stages, and there's a chance we could even lose and go through. So hopefully we'll put on a bit of a performance. We'll get a nice Liam Wells hat-trick or something. Iribarren will get his 30th goal of the season before December, or so there'll be some kind of ridiculousness go on, or it'll just be a 0-0 and we'll qualify via the back door. Who cares, as long as we get into the knockout rounds. Iribarren's in. Well, that's a good save from the Dortmund keeper. There's almost 2 minutes on the clock and Iribarren hasn't scored yet, so that's a bit of a worry, but hopefully nothing too serious. Aribi with a good header, and Oscar's in behind, and he makes it 1-0, with less than 2 minutes on the clock. The forgotten man in all the excitement around Iribarren and Wells, but that's Oscar's 10th goal of the season from midfield. I know he's playing as the attacking midfielder, and he's effectively a third striker most of the time, but I'm still going to claim that that's 10 goals from midfield, and he's only 22. We're talking about how young Iribarren and Wells are. Oscar's another one who's potentially got 10 years playing for this club. If we can keep these players together, and the only way we're going to do that is by winning some stuff, but if we can win the league this year or win a Champions League in the next year or two, it gives us the opportunity to keep this front three together more than anything. The rest of the team can rotate around and change if need be, but if we can keep this front three together for the next 2 years, we'll be the dominant club in Europe for 10 years. There's Kev's prediction for you, but it does rely on not losing any of these talented attacking youngsters that we've got, because they're just going to be impossible to replace. We've been very fortuitous that Wells has come from our own youth team, but the other two, we've spent an absolute ton of money on, close to £200 million on Iribarren and Oscar. We're not going to be able to replace those kind of players. We don't have that kind of money to throw around anymore, because I threw it all around then and we're now in financial problems. The other reason we need to do well in the Champions League. Dortmund have now equalised, which is a little bit of a dampener on the excitement that we were having there. It's a nice little finish. Igor's our captain today because he's that great. And for those of you saying Igor's rubbish and we need to get rid of him, the hashtag Igor Out Brigade, he's Brazil's captain. Now, I know Brazilian goalkeepers, it's not the thing Brazil are most known for. Ooh, Brazil, the land of goalkeepers. But he's Brazil's captain. That means he's playing game in, game out for Brazil. He can't be that bad. Wells is in, and there you go, Liam Wells. If he gets anywhere near the ball, he scores a goal. There probably needs to be a more catchy chant / catch phrase for him than that one. That's his 12th goal of the season, and it's a beautiful little finish on his weak foot. That lad's in his first half a season as a top level footballer, and he's just scored that kind of confident finish against one of the best teams in Europe. He's going to be a superstar. We've equalised again now. They've equalised again, even. I'm not Dortmund manager, I don't think, unless things took a little bit of a turn at some point over the last few seasons, and I don't remember moving there. Igor, I'm trying to defend you, but really, is that captain's armband weighing you down a little bit? Weren't able to drop down to your left-hand side quickly enough because of all that weight on your right arm. Brazil's captain, I will remind you, Brazil's captain, ladies and gentlemen. And Aribi, I don't like having a centre-back on a yellow card being the one chasing out and pressing from a corner like that. It's just asking for a second yellow when he flails in too aggressively. And we don't have any more centre-backs. We've got them both in the team now. It'll be Medor or Owusu who goes into the back four. If we get another centre-back injury, it is a position we desperately need to strengthen in January. We let Catano go over the summer, bringing in Aribi. Who on earth did we have as a fourth option before? Have we been operating on just 3 centre-backs for the last 3 seasons? Have we got a fourth centre-back? Someone let me know. We must have. I just don't remember who he is. Or perhaps we sold him. That English chap, he was the one. And we let him go to get Owusu into the squad. I remember now. So I guess Owusu needs to... It's now or never for him. We're losing this football match. Iribarren's not turned up at all, so Vendra can come on for him. And Ziyech, Fiorentini can come on for him. And we're going to stick Wagner as the more attacking one because we know the specials that he's got in his feet on occasion. Not Brazil's captain, but he's capable of being very Brazilian with his attacking play. There you go, linking all the commentary together. That's just that's commentary skill you've witnessed there. Dortmund are attacking again. It's because I got so excited about the prospect of qualifying a game early. We now need Dynamo Zagreb to do us a favour. Well, they're not going to, and we're now 4-2 down. I mean, we have done well against Dortmund over the last couple of seasons. We did well earlier on in the group stage this year. We did exceptionally well against them in the group stages last year. But remember, if you've watched the 20 years in the future thing, Dortmund have won Bundesliga 10 seasons in a row. They are recent Champions League winners. We don't really have any right to be pretending we're capable of beating them. So it's not a disaster. We're going to bring Burgess on for Wells. There's no point. I mean, Liam Wells has just come back from a little knock. There's no point keeping him on the pitch when we're not going to get back into the game. Gives James Burgess 10 minutes actually playing up front as well, which if we're moving Vendrick on, Burgess does need game time up front. We don't want to turn him into a fully fledged midfielder and end up with just 2 strikers. That would just be silly. This has been poor. But Zagreb have gone ahead against Celtic. We're going to qualify via the back door, everybody. It's our favourite way of qualifying. And there we have it. Both us and Dortmund are through to the knockout rounds of the Champions League. It's been a successful episode. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you pop a like on there for me. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more. And thank you very much for watching.